Good morning, YouTube. This is Don V with Truth to Be Told, and we ran across a few interesting stories that we think that everybody might want to see. So hold on one second, and we'll just move right into them. It says Biden to cancel oil and gas leases in Alaska's Arctic refuge amid rising gas prices. That's a great picture of him, isn't it? The Biden administration will suspend all oil and gas contracts at Alaska's Arctic National Wildlife Refuge amid rising gas prices. The national average price of gas per gallon in the U.S. is 304.5 as of Tuesday, June 1st. About 315 here. Gas prices have spiked in Southern California to $6 a gallon. Imagine that. Could you imagine having to pay $6 a gallon? I would literally stroke. They want that for all of us. Uh, Joe Biden is now freezing all oil and gas contract in Alaska's Arctic refuge after canceling the Keystone Pipeline. Politico reported the Biden administration is moving to suspend all oil and gas leases in Alaska's Arctic National Wildlife Refuge, pending a deeper look at the environmental impacts of drilling in a sensitive region, according to a person with direct knowledge of the decision. Probably the Sierra Club. A new environmental analysis could impose additional restrictions on development in a refuge or potentially nullify the leases altogether, undoing one of the signature policy achievements of 45's administration. But it would not go as far as green groups have requested in an ongoing lawsuit which aims to void the leases that were awarded earlier this year. The Arctic Refuge's coastal plain, a 1.6 million acre stretch of tundra on Alaska's North Slope, was open to all oil and gas development as part of the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. The language included in the bill was drafted by Senator Lisa Murkowski, Republican of Alaska, and gave power and authority over the leasing program to the Secretary of the Interior, acting through the BLM. The Fish and Wildlife Services, which manages the refuge, played only a marginal role in the environmental review process. Interesting. Boy, don't we just love him? He's just such a wonderful guy. Okay, well, let's move on to his boss. It's his third term. Obama says Joe Biden is finishing the job with his former staff. Imagine that. Have you felt like you're living through Obama's third term as president? Oh, there may be some truth to that. During a recent interview, Obama said that Joe is working with his former staff to finish the job. Yeah, take down America. Doesn't that sound like Biden is carrying on Obama's vision? I'm not saying putting that word in front of him. Barack Obama said in an interview published Tuesday, his former VP, Joe Biden, was finishing the work he began to redistribute wealth through programs like Obamacare. Take from you and give to me. Yeah, typical socialist programs. I think that what we're seeing now is Joe and the administration are essentially finishing the job, he said in an interview with New York Times columnist Ezra Klein. And I think it'll be an interesting test. 90% of the folks who were there in my administration, they are continuing and building on the policies we talked about. Obama expressed his frustration that former President 45's administration interrupted his ability to get credit for the strength of the economy. Yeah, credit. That clouds what I think would have been a more impactful shift in political views towards Democrats as a result of my 8 years, he said. Interesting. Oh, I can't even look at his picture. All right, moving on. China's state media says country must prepare for nuclear war after Biden agrees to a watered-down COVID probe. Last week, Joe Biden shut down President Trump's investigation into the origin of the China virus. Joe Biden, whose family of grifters have made hundreds of millions from the communist Chinese regime, then replaced the intensive study with their watered-down 90-day probe by U.S. intel on the origins of the virus. That was enough for the editor of the Chinese state-run Global Times to publish an op-ed on a high-intensity showdown between China and the U.S. with nuclear weapons. Just what we need. Hugh Zhen, the editor of the Chinese state-run newspaper, the Global Times, considers enhancing China's nuclear program as being vital to the country's strategic deterrence against the United States. The increasingly confrontational rhetoric and military maneuvers coming out of the two countries have raised concerns about a potential war. We must be prepared for an intense showdown between China and the U.S., Hugh wrote in a Thursday op-ed for the Global Times. The number of Chinese nuclear warheads must reach the quantity that makes U.S. elites shiver when they entertain the ideal of engaging in a military confrontation with China. Hugh advocated for rapidly increasing the number of commissioned nuclear warheads, DF-41S, an intercontinental ballistic missile, and strategic missiles that have long-range capabilities. The editor posted the same comments on Weibo, a Chinese social media platform. Interesting. And I'm just going to click on this right here. You guys will have to read this yourself. But there's another link in here that talks about what's going on in Arizona. Oh, that's this one right here. Click the wrong one. And looks like they're up to 1 million. Okay, last but not least, huge new email shows Dr. Fauci was told in January that 2020 the coronavirus looked engineered. Dr. Lawrence Sellin reported it to the Gateway Pundit back in July of 2020. Dr. Peter Daszak, president of EcoHealth Alliance, a longtime collaborator with the Wuhan Institute of Virology, presumably was referring to the Ralph Barrett-Xing-Li-Shi experiments, stated you can manipulate them in a lab pretty easily, inserting the spike protein. It's a backbone of another virus. And yet for over a year, Dr. Anthony Fauci was vehemently denied the Wuhan virus was man-made until last month, when Dr. Fauci admitted it may have possibly been to naturally occurring. Yeah, And now a second email surfaced from the Fauci email dump that shows Dr. Fauci was told in late January 2020 that some of the features of the coronavirus looked engineered. Dr. Fauci knew the truth, and he lied about it for over a year, maybe because he was funding the project. Something else he lied about. And here we got the email right here. It says, "Hi, Tony. Thanks for sharing. Yes, I saw this earlier today, and both Eddie and myself are actually quoted in it. It's a great article, but the problem is that our phylogenetic analysis aren't able to answer whether the sequences are unusual at individual residues, except if they are completely off on a phylogenetic tree. The virus looks totally normal, and close clustering and with bats suggests the bats serve as the reservoir. The unusual features of the virus make up a really small part of the genome, 0.1%, so as to look really closely at the sequences, see that some of the features potentially look engineered." Interesting. Okay, well, let's go ahead and move on. Well, it looks like we have about a half hour of Thurston W. with the Frog News Network, and they have a pretty interesting intel drop. So let's go ahead and move on to that. Hold on.
The juicy stuff that we've been waiting for. Let me give us the big screen so you guys can see Doug real clear. There we go. You actually look really good in the white, I have to say.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's the white hats.
And we probably got some of your peeps in there because we got 5928.
Okay, so here's what I got. As of like yesterday,
Okay.
Disney World, Florida, subtunnels destroyed, major flooding, even hidden from MSN, mainstream media, still happening at Disney World. Most people never knew that Disney World had its own laws and government. The land was bought by C blank A. Vatican's Rothschilds, Mossad, and military are still going through the evidence. And the tunnel, guess where it led to? A clone factory. So if you
What
this
factory?
a clone factory.
A clone factory where they make clones?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
That's what it says in here. And we've also heard that there's been numerous light earthquakes out in California at that Disney World as well.
Disneyland.
Disneyland is, yeah, there's two different ones. But Disney is bad, bad, bad. Keep your children away from Disney. I don't think they'll exist by the end of the year.
And don't let them go on a Disney cruise either.
No, because them Disney cruise ships go to the bad islands.
Right.
And
also,
go ahead.
It's funny because the Vatican is like Disneyland. It can print it. It doesn't have to go to the Italian government, which is broke, by the way, because of their little Lorenzo satellite. Basically, they can print their own passports at the Vatican without going. That's why the Bible says there are certain number of kings. Okay. When they're talking about the kings, the earthly kings in our time, they're meaning the popes, because the popes don't need the Italian government to print their passports. They can print their own. So that's what they mean.
Well, let me ask you a question. I heard there hasn't been a real pope since about 1953. Everyone that they've put in as pope has actually been a Freemason since then.
Sounds very believable. I totally agree. Yeah, sounds believable.
Yeah, that's what I heard in the documentary I'd found. Here's some more news that I had yesterday, and this is mainstream media, but it's a good one. Justin, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis signs a bill banning transgender females from competing in women's competition. I don't have anything against anybody, but it ought to be the boys and the girls. If they want to create another division for them, that's fine too.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
I'd agree. Also, in Brazil, the Amazon River is overflowing everywhere. It's the biggest city in Brazil. The rainforests have swelled to levels unseen in over a century. Record-straining rain everywhere. It's flooding is everywhere. Houses are floating down the street. Also, Iranian warship thought to be headed towards Venezuela with 7 high-speed missile boats aboard. They're tracking that and keeping a close watch on that. Also, big breaking news, the Pentagon has officially handed over the report to declassify the UFO sightings to the Congress. And we got to ask ourselves, I'm going to come back so I can see us in here. You got to ask ourselves, why are they declassifying that now? Are they getting ready they're dripping the information and getting ready to see a lot more things about things flying in the sky? I think you're about to see that without going into great detail.
A little fear porn from the deep state. Okay, so I have a few comments on the stuff that you said. Okay, sure. So you can if you can repeat what you said again about the things right before that. About what was that? Right after, I had a brain freeze. Right after we talked about the popes, we talked about, you did 2 other things. What did you say? You said something about Iran. Okay, Iran was basically is on sanctions, but Biden purchased oil from them, which is totally illegal.
Right.
Okay, and he's shut down the drilling in Alaska. And then you said something else about, what was that?
But they had high-speed missile boats loaded on a ship, and they were tracking that. And yeah.
So, as you know, the Pentagon, if you watch the show, has dispersed 60,000 troops, American troops, and they've joined with Australia, New Zealand, and whatever else. They're taking out a few groups, the NATO group in Brussels. They're taking out the Octagon group in Switzerland. I'm sure they're linked to the clowns, and they're taking out the Mossad in Israel. Okay. And we know that it was on the 23rd of March, which is about 40 days ago, that the Ever Given was taken out with a bunch of other ships. So they lost a lot of money. Okay. And you said something and I wanted to comment, but I just I forgot what you said.
I did too, so I apologize. I mean, I had a list of stuff.
This is Disney. The Disney.
Oh yeah, Disney and the clone factories and how they were funded and actually bought, because we all know that the guy Walt Disney. We don't even have to talk about the 33 Degree Club down there was for pedophiles, and you had to be rich to get in it inside Disney. Also, he was a pedophile.
Yeah, he fell in love with one of the child stars, and the guy committed suicide. The kid, the actor.
Bad. Disney is bad, and there was tunnels under there that led to the clone base, and where they manufactured clones.
The attorneys for the clowns purchased the land on they purchased the land in the, what do we call it, the swamp of Orlando for $200 an acre. $200 an acre. I have to tell you about Orlando. I went there for CPAC, and wow. I know, and I think they did a good job. It looks pretty, but you know, the people escape from Orlando because you're right on. It's like Houston. You're right on like a swamp. So you want to escape the humidity because you're on a swamp. They come over here to Sarasota to escape the humidity. So you know, it's a lot of stuff going on. Okay, so do you have any more intel, or do you want me to start on mine?
Let me see what else I got in my little thingy here. Hey, here's something that I'll touch on yesterday. Some people were reporting from inside Washington, D.C. They said there was an active shooter yesterday, and there was a fire. I've never seen firemen and police. If there's an active shooter, they never told the crowd to get back. The firemen came, and there was a fire on the balcony. Since when do you use a ladder truck to go up to the building on the 4th floor? They never put their oxygen masks on. They tried to fight it with a fire extinguisher. These guys are actors. They're not firemen. I'm telling you, because if they put out a dumpster fire, they put their oxygen mask on. These guys were fighting it with a little fire extinguisher like you'd find in a hallway to high school. Who does that? So that was all staged. That was a staged event in DC yesterday with the active shooter. Every police officer would have had their guns drawn. They've been telling the crowd to get back, and they were just running around like, you know, it was a game. And then the fire department showed up, and it was like the Keystone Cops. It was just, we were laughing watching the video.
At the White House?
It was at a building close to the White House. It was an apartment building that was supposedly active shooter and a fire. Well, there was a fire on the balcony, and I might as well grab the fire extinguisher out of my kitchen for what they were trying to put the fire out with. I was going, we were watching it. We're going, is this real? Is this real? Are they really using a ladder truck with a big crane on it, and they got a fire extinguisher on this fire?
Oh my!
Not a hose. I said, where's the water? And if you're waiting to say, well, maybe they had to hook it up to the fire hydrant. No, all fire trucks carry like a couple of 1,000 gallons of water while they hook to the fire hydrant. No, this was the Keystone firefighters.
Oh man.
It was hilarious. So know that there's false flags and false things going on everywhere in our country right now. And I'll let you hit it with your breaking intel.
Well, it's not breaking intel. As you know, I reported the other day that Tierra del Fuego, Land of Fire, is where they're creating the tribunals for at a hangar for the Hollywood types. That includes Lady Gaga, and there's a B in there. And they're also from Kevin Spacey, and I would say a couple others. I would say
Well,
maybe
Kevin, none of the people testifying against him ever seemed to make it to the trial.
they never survive. No,
There seems that it must have the same people working for him as the Clintons do.
or Adam Schiff.
Yeah,
Adam
you're
Schiff
not allowed to testify.
Adam Schiff is a CIA operative, allegedly, as we know. So,
Yeah, all these people suddenly just commit suicide for some reason.
yep.
Or hang themselves from a doorknob for no reason.
Yeah, it's really hard to kill yourself and hang yourself from a doorknob.
Okay, folks. Speaking of Adam Schiff, let's take a quick look at a news report on Real Raw News. Hold on one second. Okay, here on Real Raw News, Wednesday, June 2nd, 2021, it says military arrest Adam Schiff. As the deep state lodged its final and fruitless bid to eliminate Donald Trump by convening a bogus grand jury to hear fabricated evidence of non-existent tax fraud, the United States military arrested yet another deep state asset who had eluded justice for far too long. On Monday morning, U.S. Special Forces arrested Chair of the House Intelligence Committee, Adam Schiff, at his Potomac, Maryland home. Sources involved in Trump's deep state war within the U.S. Navy Judge Advocate General Corps told RRN that Schiff's arrest was legal and proper and based on a sealed indictment Donald J. Trump and Acting Attorney General Jeffrey Rosen had authorized prior to January 20th. The formal charges against Schiff include numerous high crimes and misdemeanors. Specifically, the indictment alleges that Schiff and other prominent Democrats did knowingly conspire to manufacture unsubstantiated claims that Trump and the members of his campaign had colluded with Vladimir Putin to thwart Hillary Clinton's 2016 bid for the presidency. Moreover, the indictment states that Schiff's personal war on Trump cost U.S. taxpayers nearly $2 billion. That's with the B. Money he misappropriated to fund personal vendetta. It further stipulates that Schiff unconstitutionally pressed Trump's removal from office after grossly exaggerating the context of a telephone conversation between Trump and his Ukrainian president, Volodymyr Zelensky. The indictment concludes Schiff betrayed his oath of office, lied to his constituents, embezzled cash, subverted the Constitution, and committed treason, all in the name of wanting to eradicate his nemesis. Number 45. Even the less severe charge, embezzlement, could deliver upon Schiff a 5 to 99-year sentence in a federal penitentiary, while the most egregious treason could see him hanged by the neck until dead. Sources told RRN the military began its investigation into Schiff's criminal misconduct in early January and would have arrested him sooner, but both JAG and its cooperating partner, the U.S. Army Criminal Investigations Division, have been swamped in a litany of indictments. JAG completed its inquiry in mid-May and drew up plans for Schiff's capture. Even then, it wasn't exactly easy. Special Forces would have nabbed him more expeditiously, but Schiff was traveling around incognito. He was shuffling between many homes he owns across the country. But you know what they say, you can run, but you can't hide, one source said. Special Forces, he added, had stalked out Schiff's home in California, Massachusetts, and Maryland, and had a surveillance team watching the U.S. Capitol. Although Schiff was spotted several times in the halls of Congress, the military ultimately deduced that the D.C. Schiff was not Schiff at all, but rather a convincing body double. They body doubles. That's how they're doing it, buddy. People, when you see Hillary and you see some of these other known people, they're body doubles most of the time. The military used gait recognition technology, which proved the body double theory. The deep state has been using body doubles to protect its ranks, our sources said. Gait recognition refers to the use of video of human gait, processed by computer vision methods to recognize or identify persons based on their body shape and walking styles. This is a passive mode of acquiring biometric data from a distance. On Monday morning, however, the military hit pay dirt, finding the true Adam Schiff alone in his Maryland domicile. When confronted by special forces, Schiff he peed himself, fell to his knees, and cried like a baby, one source said. In closing, our source said Schiff has been taken to a holding facility where he will await transportation to Guantanamo Bay. Interesting, interesting. Okay, well, let's go ahead and get back to the video.
But you know what? This is what they're saying, that these people committed suicide or they were murdered and found hung to a doorknob. There's been more than one person hung from a doorknob. And
Right.
back to David Carradine.
I mean, how I don't even know how easy it is to hang yourself from a door. That's so crazy. That's ridiculous.
They're trying to send a message, is what it is.
With a red scarf, that would be Kate Spade, and that would be Anthony Bourdain. They were both hung with a red scarf. That is
David Carradine was hung too from a doorknob.
Yeah,
he was going to expose the child trafficking.
It's so crazy. These people are. We need to take them out. Okay, so we have the Starlink satellite that's up. Basically, the military, today is the 2nd. The military is to be on high alert tomorrow. High alert. Something big's going to happen. So they're on high alert. Starlink satellite is up, and it's going to take out the Mossad, the UK Royals, the CCP, the Five Eyes, the criminals in United States, the criminals in UK, the criminals in Canada, the criminals in Australia, the criminals in New Zealand. Project Mockingbird will go down, and we have all of these currencies. Crypto is supposed to crash, but especially Bitcoin during the blackout. But we have XRP, XLM, and gold will explode. If you look on the bottom, if you look on the bottom of the screen, that's the Telegram. If you guys want to survive this with me, I suggest that you get to Telegram. Doug, did you put your Telegram on, right?
I don't. There's no way for me to put it up. You'd have to put it up through yours.
No. But you can see your Telegram right now, right? You put
yes. People are watching us from from the Telegram groups.
Oh, they are watching you. Oh, how many people do you have on your Telegram?
On the channel that we got 10,000 on one Frog News channel, and the one I started last night, we got 4,520 hours.
You're huge. This is, let me go to his channel. I predict that they're going to be huge. He's going to be huge. I mean,
that's on Telegram and on YouTube, we're up to like 44,000 subscribers, 1 million views in less than 30 days. And then another channel, Doug Kuzma, we're 34,000 and 1 million views in less than 30 days also.
Okay, so let me put his channel up, since he's going to be here every Wednesday at this time. So everyone that's watching from Doug's channel, you know where his channel is. For the new people, he's my new best.
Frog News Network over on YouTube.
There we go. I'm sharing it on the screen. There we go.
There it is. Boom.
Loud and clear. Okay. And so I also would like to share my Telegram. I don't know how
you have that running at the bottom, don't you, Kirsten? /Kirsten W. Is that it?
I'm trying to share it.
It's running on the ticker at the bottom.
Oh, yeah. I was trying to share the whole channel.
Oh, okay.
I mean, because with mine, you got to kind of like spoon feed them a little.
I understand. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a little spoon feeding is good. I like to spoon feed my
for the latest information, go to Kirsten's channel.
Okay? Yeah, exactly.
I like breaking news that we can't put on here, but we can put on there.
Yeah, and you know exactly what's going on. I'm going to put it up now.
Telegram is your safe place.
Telegram is your safe place because
Russian software.
Okay, so here, let me share my Telegram here. If you guys are not on here, please go to the bottom of the screen. It's also in the description. Here we go. Here is my safe place. And I see many, okay, view in Telegram. Pictures. I put in
Yeah,
more
and you can
pictures.
red pill somebody with this book and tell them this is the facts. Here they are as they lay. And you know, you don't have to go back and go, well, I seen it here, I seen it there. You can go right to the book. Hey, this is where it's at. This is Kirsten's got great intel, over 94% accurate all the time.
Over, yeah, 95%.
I was gonna let you do that.
Waiting. The one, I'll admit it, the one that I've made the mistake on over and over and over again, the same mistake on the same stuff, is the blackout.
Yeah.
I've been talking about this blackout for 1 year. I've been guessing it's going to be now, it's going to be here. I've given up guessing. I'm not in charge.
When it happens, it happens.
The military is in charge. Okay, let's just go through it again. Biden is in charge of our finances, which he's
in chief is the other guy.
Yeah, there we go.
You ever hear somebody come on TV and say, "Hi, I'm so and so, and I play a doctor on TV, but in real life, I'm just an actor." That's what you got up there in at the Senior Living Center in DC.
Oh God!
Flashbang.
He doesn't, and he's never stayed overnight at the White House.
No, he's not.
He's always going back to Delaware. What is
if he's even going there? You know,
he probably needs a recharge.
He's probably at the Econo Lodge up the street.
It probably needs a recharge. The clone needs a recharge.
Yeah, they got to plug him into the outlet and charge him for the next day.
The crazy stuff that he does. It's so. Oh my God.
And I don't anymore look for what he says. I just look at what's around him. Is it a green screen? Is he really at the Ford plant? Is he really over here in Wisconsin? Is he really at these other places? You know, sometimes it's just, you know, all false. But he actually was out there yesterday where the lady went to the airport. They were the only two people there to greet him. If 45 came to the airport, there'd be 20,000 people at the airport screaming. Two people?
And what plane was he?
And they got right up on the limo. How do you do that?
Was he flying commercial?
He did to the inauguration. No, he had his own plane, but it wasn't the military plane that usually they send Air Force One, but it's a SAM, special air mission. They didn't even give him a ride to the inauguration of that. They had to put him on a private jet and send him out there. So you know what you're seeing is just part of a movie that's playing out, and we're all played out on the movie, ladies and gentlemen. We wanted the movie to end, but it's going to end on God's time, not our time. And when the military moves, they're going to have to move and trust God, because they're never going to have everything they need. They're going to have most things they need, and then things will start moving forward. So, you know, we've told everybody for months now to stock up on food. I know everybody has. If you haven't, shame on you, because you've had 3 months to stock up on food. If there's suddenly a meat shortage, it's not our fault. We told you it was coming. You should.
Okay, well, I guess I can agree with that. You know, it's all in God's timing, and our Lord and King, at least we know when it comes to this and everything else that is good and wholesome in America, that he is still in charge. And according to all the prophets, he's really moving in on this situation here. At any rate, that's a lot of alleged information there. I got to keep saying alleged. And this is Don V with Truth Be Told, under partly cloudy skies, downtown Arizona. I can't give you my my town name. At any rate, thank you for watching my video, and this will be all we have for today.